Welcome to the Mike on Much podcast. I'm your host, Mike Veerman, and I am joined by my friend and trusted producer, Max Kerman. We're also joined by our pop culture aficionado, Shane Christian Cunningham. And today, we are joined by a fourth person. Max, who are we joined by?
Our friend Erika, who somehow skirted the whole intern contest and became an intern herself. But we're still having the contest.
Well, she's going to intern for the contest because I do have some materials here that I need help with. So she can intern the intern finalists for that and help when we actually do the real game show that's going to be in 2 episodes from now, which will actually determine the winner.
There's a lot of information off the top. Erika.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Great. Thank you for joining us.
No problem. Thank you for having
We've
me.
partied with Erika before,
Yes.
haven't we?
Certainly. Yeah.
Yes, we have.
And it was an interesting thing, and I meant to apologize to you because, well, it was an unusual thing. Like, I'm one of those people, sometimes I can dish it but not take it. And it was obviously my first time drinking in a long time.
Right.
And maybe you weren't aware of
Post-baby.
that. Maybe you weren't aware of that. But she thought it would be cool, probably. She thought it'd be okay if she mentioned my big nose. Because on the pod, I talk about that, right? So
Sure.
It's like sometimes you think you know someone, so it's like you have that level of comfort. But I was like, oh, she doesn't know me. So then I went like real off in an embarrassing way. But you know, I don't think you should go around doing that,
No,
but
you're
I
right.
shouldn't
You're right.
be like a crazy person either. So I apologize for being crazy.
Who knew you had all this water under the bridge? I had no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to just say that
Yeah,
because I'm a crazy
What was your
person.
recollection of that night?
There was an insensitive joke made in an Uber. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I thought it was a good joke. I just explained it. I'm drunk, and you know when I'm drunk, I say outrageous things. So I was like, let's get some cocaine. And then she goes, Shane, with your nose, it better be a lot. See, so it's a good line, obviously.
That is a good joke.
But you're right. I don't know. Maybe your nose is your one thing you hate. That's a good lesson in comedy. If you don't know someone too well,
I
don't
hate
joke
a lot
about
of stuff,
their...
but that's just the one
Okay.
thing I talk about. And then I guess you thought it was okay because you do listen to the pod, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, but if I met like Howard Stern, I wouldn't be like, "Who's Big Bird?" You know, just because I would have like respect for someone I wasn't
Are you putting
necessarily
yourself
the
in that
friend.
category for
Not at all. I'm just saying if I heard someone and knew something about them, I wouldn't say it just because I don't have that level of comfort. with
Sure.
them. But I shouldn't react that way.
No, you're right. I
Anyway.
shouldn't have said it. I'm sorry, too.
Well, I accept your apology.
Friends again?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Wow, we're off to a great start. The Erika era is off to a wonderful start. But thank you for joining us.
No problem.
We're going to go back to you a couple times throughout this opening, I believe. Max, is that the plan?
That's the plan.
Okay, but before we get back to that, today on the show, guys, we have Classified, who has an EP out called Tomorrow Could Be. Check that out.
Maybe say that again, Mike.
Did I not get that out right?
Come on,
What was that?
Tomorrow Could Be.
Okay.
Am I getting Radio DJ? She Ain't Gotta Do Much is one of the singles, and Powerless is also on that record.
Andy's got a new digital dessert out.
Well,
now.
I was going to say, I was saving it. I just watched it today.
Oh, it only took you more than 24 hours.
Sorry about that, but it's my favorite one, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I liked it more than the Jersey Shore one. So
That's been the feedback I've been getting,
Yeah.
people listening.
Yeah, it's very good. So I recommend our listeners to check that out when it drops, the
Yes.
digital dessert.
If you are listening to this right now and you haven't seen it, go check out that and all of Shane's digital desserts. Because last week on the dessert, Shane, I think you rolled the Jersey Shore one.
I did. And I think I ended up getting 50 more views on the YouTube account. So slowly but surely.
Yeah, that
I'm
adds
proud
up
of
over
every one
time.
of those views.
So we will be getting to Classified in a bit, but before then, fellas, lots been going on. Shane and I are about to leave for Montreal for Just for Laughs, the big JFL festival. Got some cool interviews lined up. We'll have to tease that because we not only can't say the names, but nobody's totally confirmed yet, for being completely honest. But we're excited to go to Montreal, see a lot of cool shows, and another big thing happened in our lives, guys. DeMar DeRozan got traded. I've been seeing on the socials, people have wanted to hear our thoughts on this. Do you want to do a little bit on DeMar or
You
what?
start, Mike.
Yeah.
I am sad to see DeMar DeRozan leave the city. He was extremely loyal, and he was the hero we needed for the time we had. That being said, I am very excited about Kawhi Leonard because Kawhi Leonard is objectively a better basketball player, and I think it means that the Raptors are going to the finals. So, yes, it's a cold business, and it's not without a heavy heart that we say bye to DeMar, but you got to take a swing sometimes, and that's what Masai did.
Yeah, I agree with all the management decisions that the Raptors managed to pull off in getting Kawhi. But it's been kind of interesting to see the way the media has talked about DeMar, and it is really unique, like the kind of fondness that the media members have for DeMar.
Yeah.
Like Doug Smith from the Toronto Star wrote this really touching piece about how DeMar would text him while he was in the hospital saying, "Hey, we need you back, man. How are things going?" Like, and so at first when DeMar, in my mind, was acting like an emo kid and being a little petulant on social media, and a lot of people were thinking, come on, man, you're making $27 million a year this year. Cool it. Like, stop complaining. But then you're like, you know what? This guy really loved Toronto, and everyone's entitled to have a little lash out here and there, especially if you're a decent guy. You know, I think there is a little bit of room for that behavior because it came from a good place, I think.
Certainly. And if he was indeed sort of lied to, I'm doing air quotes, by Masai, like if Masai said, hey, you're not being moved, and then they moved him 24 hours later, he has a right to be upset. I think anybody would, like, if you think about it like any line of work, you know, I don't begrudge those guys for feeling that way. And I, like you, was shocked at how much it affected people. Like, my dad was crushed.
Really?
Yeah. Like, my dad's never texted me so much about DeMar. He was like, that was my guy. I'm like, Dad, I didn't even know you liked basketball that much. He was like, I've been walking around all day listening to Skeeter Davis. Do you guys know who Skeeter Davis is? She's like a singer from the 60s that literally only sings breakup songs. So she has a famous song called like The End of the World. And it's like, how come no one knows it's the end of the world? Why does the waves keep on crashing, the birds keep on singing, my world has come to an end because you don't love me anymore? I'm like, this is what my dad's sitting in his man cave listening to, thinking about DeMar DeRozan.
I didn't even know he was a basketball fan.
He loved DeMar.
Well, okay, so you know how everyone's saying this is like a rental for a year and then Kawhi's gone?
Yeah.
If that happens, does that even matter? Because don't we get a lot of money to buy another really good player?
Yep.
So it's not that big of a deal.
So for those of you that aren't super basketball informed, one of the reasons people were upset is because Kawhi Leonard played in San Antonio. He wanted to trade to Los Angeles because he's from California. He did not want to come to Toronto. His camp made that clear, and he's only got 1 year left on his contract.
He hates the cold, too.
That's the rumor, but he spent all winter in New York. Trust me, I deep dove this. So anyway, he came here, but people were like, we gave up DeMar, who's like this loyal guy that, you know, who's been there for us for the last 9 years, for a guy that doesn't even want to come here, and he's only going to come for 1 year. The thing is, Kawhi's so good that this 1 year with him will be like a championship or bust year, or at least finals or bust. We'll make it to the finals. And that's almost, for some people, I guess, worth the risk of just having another couple like second round exits with DeMar for the next 3 years. So that's the trade-off. I'm comfortable with that trade-off. I think a lot of hoops heads are, but emotions get involved.
Yeah, but also, Shane, to your question, us just being able to buy another top 3 guy, he's a top 3 or top 5 player in the league. Like, that just doesn't happen. So it's like those guys are all
another
locked up.
DeMar level, I mean. Like
even that's kind of tough.
It'd be hard to get someone to come here.
Yeah.
But we got a bunch of young dudes that are all
if we
going to
made
grow.
it to the finals, and then it's like, oh, Toronto's a good team.
Yeah, no, a bunch of
Then
stuff could happen. Doors might open that we could never have expected if it goes well.
But would you agree that anything's better than another same old season? Like a change, even if it's for the worse, is just better.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were like, maybe we should bottom out because this team is never going to get past
just
any
felt boring.
decent team.
Like just as a casual fan, like I'm not obsessive like Mike.
Do you think that there, I guess this gets to a bigger question, and honestly, not even just pro sports, but business in general. How valuable and is loyalty real? Like, are you loyal to the company you work for, Shane? You know, we both work, we're recording this at Bell Media. Do we see it as an employer or do we see it as like a family? Because this kind of gets murky when it comes to
I'm loyal to
sports
people more than I am a corporation. Like our boss, Randall, I would be very loyal to forever. And I think he's the most loyal guy ever. But Bell is different than Randall. You know, it's hard to be loyal to a corporation.
Sure.
Because you feel like a corporation would never really be loyal to you because they don't even know who you are.
Right.
Which then makes you think is like, did DeMar feel that he had that relationship with Masai that you have with Randall, for example, and that's why it hurt so much because it was like, I thought you were my guy. You told me that I was your guy.
But it's like when you're DeMar, it's like you are like a business, like you as your person. So you almost have to expect it. It's almost foolish to trust in.
Well, this is why people were saying, get over it, DeMar, because you're foolish for thinking that this couldn't happen to you.
Should there be loyalty in business, Max?
I kind of agree with what Shane said.
But of course there should. Like there should always be loyalty. The thing is it's hard to trust a corporation because the business is to make money.
And is the idea of it being a family artifice? Or is it true? Or is it like, the minute the going gets tough, you know, we're going to do what's best for us?
I feel like the way I've heard Steve Kerr talk about this, Steve Kerr is the coach of the Golden State Warriors, where it's like he has personal respect for everybody who he deals with, and I think has like personal fondness for probably all of his players on some level, but also there's a reality. Like when they had to trade Harrison Barnes. Sorry, by the way, listeners, if you do not give one fuck about basketball, we're trying to keep this as general as we can. Sorry. When he had to trade one of his better players in order to
Harrison
make
Barnes, wasn't it?
Harrison Barnes.
Shane, you're such a hoops head.
To make room for Kevin Durant. He talked genuinely about how much he liked Harrison Barnes, but also the realization that it is also a business and it's a competitive one, and you got to do what you got to do. So it's like those two things, they don't cancel each other out necessarily. I think you can respect both of those things.
And you can temporarily screw a guy over and then be loyal to him on the back end. You know what I mean? When his career's over, be like, I'm gonna get you back in a good way or something. Like a coaching position or something. I don't know. A job in the front office.
That's why you always want to be a decent person, because you never know. Harrison Barnes might be out of the league in 8 years and need an assistant coaching position. But if he and Steve Kerr hit it off those years in Golden State, he might have a job on the bench. I don't know.
Well, and here's sort of the tough thing about someone being objectively better than somebody. So like, for instance, if like Howard Stern, I invited you both to go do his podcast, but you had to leave mine.
I would never leave.
Oh, thank you, Maxie. And by mine, I mean ours, of course.
We could do both still, though, right?
No, one or the other. You're going to leave me for Stern.
You would understand, though.
Of course, but is DeMar supposed to understand that Kawhi is objectively better, or is he going to be like, fuck?
Well, I think he would understand that, yeah.
Well, he didn't.
I don't think you get to that point by thinking
Well, you
you're
can
not as good.
understand something intellectually, but still emotionally be ruined by it.
That is true.
Sure. I did like, though, so it was big news in the Champagne Boys message group, not to cause problems.
Is this trying to make me mad now? Talk about loyalty. Is that what you're talking about?
Jeez, here we go.
Okay,
What's up with that?
We'll get to this in a second.
All right.
But in the Champagne Boys group, we were talking about this big trade, and Nick was like, I have a DeMar question, and then he asked some question, and you had a funny quip.
Nick was asking about, he's like, can I ask a generic basketball question? And I said, shoot. And then he asked this kind of complicated question that was over my head, and I thought he was going to ask what the traveling rule was about.
Basketball rules.
Which gave me an LOL.
Speaking of the Champagne Boys falling apart, I heard there was a big pool party this weekend and some stuff went down. I don't know if we should be talking about it on the pod.
I don't know about that. I wasn't there for it.
Well, just between us, I'm not sure if this is going to air, but our friend we call Psycho was
my current roommate.
Well, your current roommate.
And Erika's friend Maddie's almost roommate.
All right. Well, this is good for a laugh, regardless of where this ends up.
Welcome back, Erika. Your friend lives with this young man.
Well, we'll be moving in.
Yeah.
There was a pool party on the weekend, and Psycho, being one of the singular friends we have, was making out with a young lady.
He does
from his softball team.
I actually heard about this. I received photos.
Really?
Whoa!
But one thing that wasn't soft was his erection. So he was a little inebriated. So he gets out of the pool and forgets he has an erection. And when you have a T-shirt, it's easy to hide an erection because you kind of can tuck it in and put the shirt over.
Yeah.
But no shirt, it's just out.
It's just there.
So everyone was commenting on his boner. And then Sean Dawson, who's one of our wittier friends, made a witty remark about it. And Psycho, living up to his name, punched him in the face.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Were you there for it?
And Sean wasn't hurt by it, but he said he would have been more hurt if he hit him with his boner.
Well, this is funny. So Psycho just moved into the house where I live in Hamilton because your brother Greg and my other roommate Al both moved out with their respective ladies. And so there's an extra room in the house. So Erika actually connected me with her friend Maddie, who I also know. Maddie's moving to Hamilton to go to McMaster in September. So she came by the house and I told the story on the pod.
You did.
And she got to meet Psycho. We saw Maddie a couple weeks later.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, by the way, I don't care because she's super nice, but my mom was wondering why my roommate's called Psycho.
Well, if they listen to this pod, they have nothing to worry about now. Now we painted a picture of a guy that's going to roam around the house with a raging hard-on, swinging fists. Your roommate's cool. Don't worry about it, Maddie. Good times. So, Erika, what do you think? How will Maddie respond to this story?
She'll probably be shocked. She met Psycho a couple times. They met at the rally, actually.
That's right.
She saw his tattoo.
Oh, yeah.
She was impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
She can kind of roll with the punches.
She's open-minded girl.
She can roll with the
Yeah,
punches.
she's gonna. Yeah. No.
Would she be interested in a guy like Psycho?
She loves engineers.
Ooh.
Is that what Psycho does?
Yeah.
He's an,
Oh.
Have you never even taken the time to ask what our friend does?
I didn't know what he does. No, I don't know what a lot of people do.
Okay, so the point of contention though that Shane and I have.
Oh, right back to the Champagne Boys falling apart.
Is
This is
that
gonna,
I posted a photo on the Mike on Much Instagram page of a screenshot of a text message group with Julian sending around like a Friday night. Hey, what are we doing? There's a bunch of funny quips in there like, are we getting stank daddy? And I'm ready to get stanky tonight, et cetera, et cetera. Now, when I was about to post it, I paused for a second. And I thought, I wonder if people in the Champagne Boys message group are going to be mad that they're not in this kind of private side group because there's only
Your
5 or
text
6
group.
names in the text group. And then I thought to myself, oh yeah, Shane will probably be pretty upset about it. And then the first thing that happened when I saw you, like, what is this private text group that's going on?
you're like Masai starting a press conference apologizing to DeMar.
I'm not actually apologizing for this, to be honest. Because listen, there's lots of lots of private message groups.
And I'm not in any of them. Do you know how I know that? I know that because I'm not in any private message groups.
So you don't have a group with Mike and Greg?
I'd love to be cool and say yes, but I don't. All I have is the Champagne Boys group, and anytime I ask a general question in there, no one answers me. They just ignore me. It's like the most useless group. Now I realize why everyone's just interacting in these side groups. There's a basketball side group. There's a cool party guy side group. What else is there? What's the Friday night side group? What's that about? Why have it? No, but why?
I don't know.
Okay, and I could understand if you got a secret group, keep it a secret. Don't put it on the guy's podcast. Like, I'm one of the 3 guys in our secret little chat group called The Pod. And then you throw it on our Instagram and tell everybody I'm not involved.
I didn't tell anybody you were
I knew,
involved.
and it hurt my feelings. But what are those, how many guys are in this group?
Okay, probably the context. Mike, you're not in that
You're
group,
in,
are you?
you're not in the group.
I'm not in the group.
Oh, I feel better. Okay.
I mean, the context is probably there
Guys who go out on Friday?
Well, okay, let's think about it. That group, for all I know, I got to look through the history of it, was probably when you weren't drinking, and it was probably for like Hamilton guys that were around for lunch on a Friday. That's probably what it was, to be honest.
Okay, I thought Mike was in the group. I feel better.
Yeah, I know.
I feel better.
Okay, yeah, because that oftentimes, and there's also like another one probably with like Felix and Peak who like want to do lunch and stuff in Hamilton.
Okay, I feel better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But just let me know before you throw that up because I'm going to jump to crazy assumptions.
Okay.
I thought it was the cool party guy group.
No.
Okay.
No, definitely
Lunch
not.
crew.
The Nut wasn't in the group.
Yeah, Dan wasn't in their group. Dan Hamilton.
There you
was.
go.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a Hamilton group.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Guys, anything else going on? Like maybe like fuck, the Champagne Boys are falling apart. But I feel like we had some resolution.
got some
there.
good
No,
stuff
I
in
do
there.
feel better. Thank you.
So should we save this intern stuff for the dessert, or do you have a separate dessert?
No, I want it. The dessert is, I'll explain it during the dessert. Yeah.
Before we get to the interview, should we sort of like you're saying for Erika, who hasn't spoken much. Erika, you can get back on the mic.
Yeah.
How's it going over there? You okay?
Great.
How's your first day hanging out at the pod so far?
It's good.
Is it what you thought?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, was it different? Because sometimes I wonder when I listen to my favorite podcasts, like what it's like in the room or what they look like or any of it.
Is this your favorite podcast?
But I'm saying like a podcast you listen to.
You know she can answer for herself.
Sorry.
guys. They're just having their own fucking conversation.
Yeah.
I like is sufficient.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's good.
All right.
Like top 3.
Yeah, top 3 for sure.
That's
Sweet.
nice. Okay.
What's your favorite? Cereal? That was a good one.
No, I don't listen to Meg. I like Canada Land.
A little political journalism there. Very nice.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay.
Oh, did you want to? Do we preamble the dessert? Okay, I'll just say it. You can cut it. We are going to have intern finalists. I did receive more submissions than I thought. So the dessert we're going to talk about and review intern finalists.
So I might be cut.
Well, we'll talk about that in the dessert.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Big tease for the listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So today on the show, we were talking to Classified. We were about to get to him. Really awesome dude. I'd never met him or talked to him before, and he's a really down-to-earth, sort of smart, practical, thoughtful guy.
Yeah, shouts to his manager, Jason. I've known him for a long time. And Class, too. I met him, I think, in 2009 at the St. John's, Newfoundland Junos.
You were just in that
2010.
area doing shows.
Yeah. I was in PI yesterday.
You didn't have any PEI stories because you told me we were trying to talk in the elevator and you're like, I got some PEI
No,
stuff.
I don't really have anything. It was a weed gig. There's nothing else.
Okay.
Speaking of weed, I smoked some last night.
You did?
I was at the Arcade Fire show.
Ah.
And I'd been in a whole weekend of birth prep classes. So like this pool party where the boner assault took place I wasn't able to be at because we had to do these birth prep classes. And essentially, I got to pick 2 dates. So it was either do them all on one weekend in July when all the pool parties are happening, or do it in September, which is the Sunday after Sean Dawson's wedding. It's like, there's no fucking way I am going to get up after Sean Dawson's wedding and go like sit in a class from 11 till 6 at night. So anyway, because I did this all weekend, I was kind of like, oh, maybe I'll do something Sunday night. So I started kind of kicking the tires, and Hams, Dan Hamilton, our friend, was like, oh, I'm going to the Arcade Fire show. Our friend Julian was there, and our friend Jay, other Champagne boys. And he's like, come, just come. And I was like, I'm already at home. He's like, get an Uber, I'll buy you your first giant Budweiser. I'm like, sold, fine. So I go, he didn't even have to do that. I learned the art of negotiation from Masai. So if I just don't answer a text within 5 minutes, I feel like Dan will up the offer. If I waited another 5, I probably could have got all my drinks paid for that night. So I get an Uber and I go, and I'm like, Danica, do you want to see Arcade Fire? Like, knowing that she's exhausted. She's like, no. But like the door's already shut as I'm out the door. Car squealing. And so I go, and then like we're drinking, and Julian and Jay and their wives are hanging out, and I'm standing there and I'm listening to Arcade Fire and I'm drinking a beer. And this marijuana cigarette starts getting passed around. And I'm not a weed guy. I don't do drugs, but I'll drink, obviously.
The joint's being passed from friends or just random?
No, friends in the friend group. And there was like that split second where I was kind of looking at the joint, and then I like looked at the stage at Arcade Fire, and then I looked back at the joint, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna be a dad soon, and I won't be able to do this.
Sure.
So I was like, let's hit it. And then so I did that, and then I was just really high at the Arcade Fire show.
And did it make it better?
Yeah, actually, I did. No, I'm just kidding. It was fine. I don't even know why I told that story. Back to Classified, guys.
Yeah, well, he's got songs about weed, so perfect segue.
Yeah. Right?
There you go.
It's legal now, right?
Yeah, there's a gray area, but
it's decriminalized.
Yeah.
Erika, do you have any info on that?
Yeah, I think it will be legal in October.
Wonderful.
Right. Do you smoke weed?
No.
That's good. Do you, Shane?
No.
I know you don't, Max. You're clean cut.
Hey, but wait.
I have a funny story.
You were talking about weed gummies the other day.
But I don't want to talk about this on the pod.
Okay. All right.
This pod doesn't necessarily advocate weed smoking or anything like that. You know what I mean? You do you. Now we're entering weird territory where it seems like we're advocating illicit behaviors.
But you did ask the other day in the Champagne Boys group if anyone knew how to score weed gummies.
Drop it, Shane.
Okay. Just want to be clear.
Post that screenshot.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how you get back for being
go
excluded.
viral. Anything you do is news, though. Didn't you say something in ET Canada?
Yeah,
picked
I
it up?
talked about wanting to be on The Bachelor. Not as a contestant, but I wanted the band to play on The Bachelor.
Vanity Suite tonight.
I know. I'm so excited about it. Who do you think's going to win, Shane?
I thought the Myles Teller good-looking guy, but now I'm thinking Buffalo Wings.
Oh, he was cool at Hometowns.
I know.
I love
the
him.
surprise gay brother.
Yeah.
Man, so lovable.
Who do you think? The good-looking Teller?
I liked Blake
Yeah.
right off the bat. Everybody loved
though.
Blake.
I think the Nevada guy is going to win.
Which
Wait,
one?
is he the guy who's overly
Garrett.
weirdly? Garrett's weirdly
No,
nice.
she already said she loved Blake. She was like, he said he loved me, and the feelings are obviously reciprocated.
and Garrett liked homophobic Instagrams.
Yeah.
Oh, did he?
That's
Yeah,
not
he
good.
did.
But yeah, it's obviously Blake's the guy you would think 100% is going to win.
But if Jason doesn't win, 100% he's going to be the next Bachelor, which is awesome. I'm all about
You
that.
think? Do you think Jason's attractive?
I think his personality makes him
and
cute.
that makes it better. Okay.
Get this. I Instagram storied about loving Jason, and I added at him. It said, anytime we're in Buffalo, you're on the guest list. And then he DM'd back saying like, hell yeah, brother.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm pretty stoked. I might meet Jason one day.
Here's my prediction.
Yeah.
Okay. If Jason wins, Blake will 100% be the Bachelor.
Yeah.
If Blake wins, then 100% it will be Colton. He's a virgin. He's the hottest guy.
I didn't think they'd make a virgin a Bachelor. Has there ever been
That's
one?
an awesome storyline. A guy like that being a virgin, a football player.
He's going to be on Bachelor in Paradise, though, isn't he? I'm pretty sure.
Probably, yeah. But Nick was on Bachelor in Paradise,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
transferred him to
Sure.
Bachelor. Anyway, there's been a lot of digressions on this.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This has been the most scatterbrained open ever.
It's been all over the place, but that's fine. We're treading into new territory
Yeah,
here,
that's
guys.
right.
And I'm sure all of the fans of Classified who also love The Bachelor, that Venn diagram is perfect right now for all of you listeners. Guys, if you have never listened to the podcast before and you're just here for Classified and sat through The Bachelor, I apologize.
sorry, yeah.
But please come back, listen to more. We have over 100 episodes with all sorts of wonderful interviews and stories. You can find us anywhere podcasts are found, on Google Play, on Stitcher, on iTunes, on YouTube. If you listen at your desk, let it rip. You can follow us at Mike and Much on Twitter and Instagram. Guys, do you want to get to Classified?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how you been?
I'm good.
Sweet. Well, one of the things I kind of wanted to start with was, I guess, like just interviewing a bunch of people. One of the fun things for me is it's like you end up kind of doing this deep dive on music to sort of research and prep. And I forgot how much I love the song "Work Away." You know,
Thanks,
like
bro.
when I
Thank
was
you,
going
man.
through your shit, I was like, and then it came up, I was like, oh man, I'm like, I love this song, and the video was great.
Thank you,
and all
man.
that stuff, man. And obviously, I've been listening to the new stuff. So that fully comes out on Friday, right?
Yep. Yep.
For our listeners, this will be out after that comes out.
Okay. So I'll just say it came out last Friday or some shit.
You got it. You're gonna have to be really on the mic.
All right.
Oh, now you're on it, man.
How's that?
That's perfect.
All right.
Thank you. So I kind of want to go back to the start a bit, and I know this is like probably, I guess, somewhat of a cliche question, but like I guess the idea of being sort of like a white rapper from the Maritimes,
Yeah.
doesn't fit the typical sort of rapper story. But I guess I want to know, like, what was your childhood like? You know, what'd your parents do?
Typical small town. My dad worked at the airport, loading bags, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mom was the secretary at Blue Cross. She actually retires this month.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, played grind hockey, skateboarded. Typical small town stuff, I guess. Yeah, just really small town.
When did you start to realize you had like an inclination toward music?
Well, my dad was always in a band. Besides working at the airport, he also was in like a cover band from like the 70s. So they'd play the bar scene,
Oh, yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we always had equipment around. He was also the guy that carried the equipment. So we'd always have speakers, mics in the basement. And like me and my brothers used to just mess around in the, just kind of fooling around. I remember we used to do over like Weird Al songs. Remember we did Summer of '69? Do you remember that? And La Bamba. So it was just kind of messing around with that, and then started getting hip hop with a couple friends, and it kind of just started from like, let's write our little rhymes and record it on a double cassette tape.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
just
Been
kind of like
there.
that, messing around to doing like the high school dances, the variety shows. We'd start performing at that. And then I moved into Halifax after school, and that's where it got kind of a little bit more serious. I started learning about the scene, the hip hop scene there, and really just meeting people, DJs, and all that stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, well, a lot of young people sort of fuck around a bit with music,
Yeah.
but then there sort of comes a point where you go, I'm going to be serious about this and I'm going to sort of work hard. Did you have a moment where you were like, I'm really going to have to work hard and focus and sort of view this a different way? Or was it always kind of fun?
It
and
was kind of fun, like just gradual. Like you said, it was always like, let's do this. Oh, okay, let's do this. Oh, we met this guy. Let's go work on this. I think the first time I really knew that it was like, okay, this has got to either work or it doesn't was like, I went to Compy College, which was like a year-long course for like computer support or something.
Yeah.
Never learned anything. I learned how to type. I can type really good now.
Why did you do that though? Did you feel a pressure from your parents, or were you trying to be savvy? Like I need a backup.
I'm a very realistic person. I'm a white rapper from Nova Scotia. At grade 12, I wasn't like, I'm going to be huge and I'm going to make a living off this. I knew I liked doing it. I enjoyed performing. But I was, I'm a realist. I'm like, okay, I got to, do something. So I figured more like studio stuff like that. So I reached out to Compy College and actually said, like, I'm trying to get into the studio world, blah, blah, blah. Perfect. We got a course for you. It teaches you about computers, how to get, and it had nothing to do with what I needed. But fortunately, I actually got a pretty good job out of it. Like, I was 21 making like 40 grand a year at this job, which was, for me and my friends, it was like, oh, wow, I'm doing this.
You're legit.
Yeah,
You
straight
can
up. It
buy
was
a few
like I got
things, you
my
go out.
health insurance, all that stuff. And then it was getting dead around there, and they started laying people off, and they were actually laying me off. And they were like, okay, you're getting laid off. I was like, okay. And I was really heavy into the music, and I knew, okay, I can get unemployment for a year. So I'll have that year to kind of, bills are covered, let me give it a go.
Huh.
And my last day of work, they offered me another job. And they were like, yo, we found another job for you. And I was so set in my mind, like, And I remember my parents being like, you're crazy. You're going to leave this job to, and I was like, man, I got my employment. And that's where it was. Like, left that job, did the unemployment, never went back to work. Kind of just had that year to get my thing going. And, started making my $100 here, $200 here, selling beats, doing shows, getting a little bit of royalties, and just kind of kept growing from that.
Starts adding up.
Yeah. So that was like 2002, I think it was, 2003.
But that does take, I mean, for a lot of people, I guess that's the difference between sort of following your dream or not, is like you have the sure thing where you can stay with the company.
Totally.
Keep those bennies. And then all of a sudden, you decide to cut the cord.
Take the chance and see what happens. And obviously, I'm so happy I did. Like, I never liked that job. It wasn't something I enjoyed doing it.
Most people don't like their jobs.
No, exactly. And, you know what I mean? And most of the time when I was there, I'd be sitting there at my computer writing rhymes. I'd get my call, be like, yeah, reboot. Call me back if it doesn't work. We'll work on my song. So it actually gave me a great, a great spot to sit there and work on my music. But once I left there, that's when it kind of got serious and was like, okay, now I got to pay bills. Now I got to support myself.
So you mentioned that year. Was there anything sort of like remarkably tangible in that year where you go, oh yeah, this is a viable career? Or was it once you got to that year, you're like, I'm not stopping now?
Yeah, no, it wasn't like one thing happened that year. Like I remember literally having my notepad open, being like June 16, J Brew, one beat, $100. So
You kept the ledger?
Oh yeah, like I wrote down so I knew where my money was coming at. Like I'm a pretty good organized person with money. Like I'm cheap. I don't spend a lot of money. I'm very smart with my money. So it kind of started from that, of just doing that, and then the unemployment ran out. But okay, I was making $1,500 a month on random stuff through music, and it kind of just kept growing from that.
Yeah. So I guess like one thing I wanted to get to with this new sort of EP with Tomorrow Could Be, like your new record, is like a lot of the narrative has sort of been focused on, I guess, the subjects you're writing about, like women, child abuse, Aboriginal issues. Have you always been someone who's like deeply engaged, or is it sort of a sign of the times? Like, is it something that's sort of been...
I don't know if I'm deeply engaged. Like I always say, like I'm not a big political person. I don't watch the news a lot. I don't really pay attention to a lot of that stuff. But at the same time, like, I'm very common sense. You know what I mean? Like you read something, you're like, this isn't right. Like, how is no one really talking about this? And, with the child abuse, Powerless, like that's kind of where that song started from, was, me reading about a court case going, what the hell? This guy raped a young girl, was out in 15 months and going on with his life. And, just mention stuff like that on Facebook. And the message I got from people really hit me like, wow, this happens a lot, way more than what I thought it was. And just almost just woke up and kind of went like, okay, like, let me write some shit about this. Like, I think people need to talk about this. And that's what Powerless was. It was just trying to open up the conversation of going, this is what I'm seeing. I'm not a professional on this. I don't know everything, but something isn't right here. Shouldn't we be talking about this?
So when you put something like that out, is it more like, are you thinking, I'm just going to put my words down and this is like my point of view and it just needs to be talked about? Or do you like start to research? Do you start to sort of
a little bit, but more 95% of it was just like, this is how I see it. And I want to write it like this. I don't want it to seem like I went and did a bunch of things and got a bunch of stats and did all this. I did a little bit just because I was curious myself. Like after I started writing about it and kind of going like, how long has this been going on? The child abuse thing, the missing Indigenous women.
Yeah.
Like just, obviously I heard about that. Like my school was half Native, half white people. Like that's what my high school was. So, residential schools, all that stuff. We learned about that stuff growing up, but it was very passe casual. Like you'd hear people talking about it, be like, oh, that's crazy.
It was something that happened back then.
What's up with the game? Yeah, totally. Exactly. Like it was like, that was the past. And then, just over the years, you keep hearing about these things. And just with this one, I just really wanted to talk about something that was like, I've never talked about this. I think we all know this is happening, but it's not being talked about enough.
You said your school was like half Aboriginal. What was the dynamic like? Was it like, was everybody hanging out with everybody, or was it sort of,
it was back and forth?
Own?
Like there was a couple of times they had like race wars is what they would call it. And they'd shut down the school. Fortunately, like I got along. Like I was a skater, I was a hockey player, and I did music. So I had very different, I grew up playing hockey with Native guys. Like, so I had friends doing that, skateboarding, the same thing. But then I played hockey with all the jocks. And so I was kind of in the middle of all the worlds, you know what I mean? But there was a couple things, but it wasn't like every day how these two different types of people going to get along. Like it was pretty mixed up.
Yeah. In Powerless, the audio off the top, it sounds like a court case. Is that real audio?
No, it's not a court case. That's a girl's mother confronting the priest that raped her daughter like 25 years beforehand. Like that was her recording.
So she's recording this confrontation.
Yeah. It's like a 2.5 minute conversation. She sent me the audio of it. And she even says, just so you know, I'm recording this. And then when you hear this whole thing, there's no doubt in your mind that this guy did it. Like just the way he's replying to her answers and stuff. So like that blew my mind. And I asked her, the girl, that she's going through a bunch of stuff right now in news and everything, because she's been trying to get this priest out of it. He still does his thing in New Brunswick, and they actually
he's still
kicked him out
active.
of they kicked him out of the church because he was in Enfield. He was a priest in my hometown. Like, my kids went to this church.
So you knew this guy?
Yeah, I met. So I didn't know him good, but like,
but you
I
know
go
of
on
him,
Christmas. I shook his hand and said, "Hey, nice to meet you."
Shit.
Just thought he was,
Sure,
whatever. And then, but yeah, she sent me the audio going like, "Look, this is my mom confronting the guy who's preaching in your neighborhood, basically." So yeah, I wanted to put it on there. I had a few people like managers being like, you might get sued for this, and It's like, yeah, I don't really think this guy's going to want his name out there. So
Exactly.
And honestly, if he sued me and it came to that, it'd be okay. Well, at least there's some light on this situation, what's going on. And if he's suing me over this, maybe this whole conversation will come out, and maybe this guy won't be, you know, still at churches on every Sunday in New Brunswick.
Well, as a creative choice, it's incredibly powerful.
It sets a
Ironically, for
mood,
song
like
called
it's
Powerless.
it, totally. But yeah, exactly, and like as the producer in me, as soon as I came up with the idea and I laid it over the instrumental, I was like, there, like that sets the mood of what this whole song is supposed to be.
Because it resonates more than I guess anything one could even write about the situation, whether it's an article
real.
or something.
It's real emotion, real vibe, and you can hear it in his voice. You can hear it in the mother's voice, being like, you know, what you did to my child. Like every time I hear that one line, what she says, it's just like you can feel the anger. You can just feel the realness of it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of sort of like the authenticity and like sort of your willingness to be open and introspective in your music has been, I think, something people have responded to throughout your career. Has there ever been anything that you felt you need to hold back because it's too vulnerable? Like, do you ever pull punches or go, I can't put that out about myself?
No, not really. I don't think there's anything. Usually, if I think something that's uncomfortable, I'll usually put it in the song because I find those are the best moments. Those are the ones that are people like, wow, I went through this and no one ever talks about this. You know,
like you'll push more the more uncomfortable it feels?
Totally. Like I lost my virginity in a graveyard. I put that in a song. That's really weird. I know. It wasn't like on purpose. We were just in a field and then we woke
You weren't
up
trying to like
and we
set
were
the mood?
where are we? Yeah, set the mood, exactly. But just like things like that I think are funny. It's you know, awkward. Awkwardness makes for entertaining music, I find.
Well, yeah, what is that saying? It's like you can find the universal in the specific.
Totally.
So it's like you have this story about losing your virginity in a graveyard, but someone they'll go, oh man, I remember my awkward, shitty first time.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And that's what it is. Like you just, what was it saying you just said?
You find the universal in the specific.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
So like, even though it's specific to you, we all
It's going to
relate.
bring out something else in the world that's like, oh, I went through something like that, but it was more like this. And yeah, totally.
Yeah. So you can't think of a time where you're like, I don't want to sing about this person or ex
Nothing
or...
out of my, No, I talked about my ex. I did a song called Break Up. That was all there. It was basically I broke up with my ex, or she broke up with me. I was kind of heartbroken, didn't know what I was going to do. And then I met my wife 4 months later, you know. So it's, there might be something, but nothing jumps out of my mind that I'm like, actually, I probably wouldn't talk about it right now if I wouldn't write about it.
Fair enough.
But honestly, I can't think of something that I've ever held back and said, no, I don't want to really get into that.
How long have you been married?
14 years. 14
years. Are you somebody that, I mean, it's always interesting for musicians because it's such an unconventional career, career path to take. And then I'm always interested because there's a lot of guys that I went to high school with or whatever. They're like, oh, I want to get a job. I want to get married. I want to have kids. I want to buy a house. So whatever that sort of like traditional lineage is.
Totally. And that's kind of how I wanted to do too. Like,
you felt that way. That's what I'm getting at.
Like
so.
I was never the guy that's like, oh, I want to be a big rap star and tour the world for 40 years and never come home. Like I always wanted to have kids. Me and my wife been together for almost 15, 16 years now. And we have a very good relationship. She's very understanding of how I got to travel. And I'm very understanding of how she's home with my kids and, you know, doing what she does. So we have a good balanced, and I'm home a lot. Like I'm not like a normal musician that's, you know, oh, I'm home for a week and then I'm gone for 6 months. Like I might be gone 6 weeks of the year.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of spot dates here and there, but 90% of the time I'm home.
Well, and by the nature of your work, it's probably better for the family that you can be around. You know, you're working
even
on
just
music.
The fact that I'm a producer and I run my studio too, so it's not like my only option to make music is to be on the road performing. I can be in the studio, which is behind my garage. So it's, you know, I'm home a lot.
Do you like producing other people and sort of like having your hands on that more so than being the sole artist, or is your heart always in
No,
making
it's
your
like
own music?
50-50. Like I really like collaborating with other people because, excuse me, I just find it exciting, entertaining, new. Like when I'm by myself in the studio, a lot of times it's like pulling in. But when you're working with someone, you kind of get their vibe and their take of like, hey, do you like this or do you like that? It's almost like you're making the decisions with them rather than sitting there making your decisions by yourself.
Yeah.
Which sometimes changes every hour. I like something, I'll go in the house, have some lunch, come out, I'll switch it again. And it's almost like battling yourself. Sometimes it's good to have someone to bounce things off.
Sure, just to stay like engaged and
just to keep it exciting. Yeah.
You know, I'd ask the question about, you know, maybe being concerned about your lyrics. Like as a father, you know, and a role model to your children, other people, are you ever cognizant of like singing about adult issues, or are you like, hey man, like we can't shield everybody from everything?
No, I'll still rap about smoking weed, whatever I do. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, man.
this is who I am. This is what I am. I'm not trying to hide that. I do get a little bit hesitant some now because my kids always want to see my videos.
Of course.
So like, She Ain't Got to Do Much just came out, and there's a shot of me smoking weed. So I'm a little bit like, you know what I mean? Like, my oldest daughter, I had explained what marijuana was the other day, and it got a little weird. But I was like, this is medicine for some people. It's like, having a glass of wine for some people.
Yeah.
And I try to almost like balance it out of like, parents aren't afraid to sit there and drink beer in front of their kids, drink wine. So why am I hiding this when I know a lot more friends' lives got messed up from alcohol than weed has ever done? So it's kind of a weird balance of like, I'm trying to protect them, but I'm not trying to shield them from what's going on in the world.
Well, that's a practical conversation about, like you said, like, if someone's going to smoke a bit of weed, it's no different than someone coming home and having a glass of wine.
Totally.
But there's this stigma, obviously, which I think is changing in this country
Definitely
anyway.
is
And
now.
by the time our kids are our age,
That's what I'm hoping.
it's going to be no
it's going to be
deal.
like, oh yeah, that's whatever.
Yeah,
You know
why
what
did
I
we
mean?
make this a big deal?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you somebody, I guess, like, there's a lot of people that are in music and otherwise that are like sort of, I wouldn't say like hardcore careerists, but I mean, it's hard in any field, whether you're producing or doing, working, whatever. Do you ever measure success by looking at peers? Are you somebody that has targets, or are you just, I'm purely being creative and what happens, happens?
I think goals are definitely a good thing to have. Like small goals though. Like, it's not like, oh, I want to be on the Grammys next year. It's like, oh, I want to get this record done. I want this video to come out. I want, the tour to go good. Smaller goals, but I don't know. Now it's a little different too, because I'm more comfortable. The future isn't kind of as unseen as it was, say, 10, 15 years ago when I was making my $1,500 a month. And I'm like, okay, good. I got my rent now. It's like I said, I'm cheap. I'm good with my money. So I kind of saved up. I'm pretty comfortable that way, where it's not like I got to worry about, is this album going to come out and support me for the next year or two? So that kind of gives me the freedom to just kind of be in the studio. Like, okay, I'm going to write about this today. Maybe this will work on radio. Maybe it won't, but I think my fans are still going to appreciate the honesty and what this song is about and stuff. So it's almost just like having a different perspective of, I guess it's more just about the music and not worrying about supporting myself as well off of it. Because
you're at a comfort level now. And
totally. It's just, if it works, it works. If not, it's not like, oh shit, I got to get a job next year or something like that.
Well, I mean, it's interesting you say that, because talking to you, you seem like you've sort of consistently throughout your adult life just been very sort of reasonable and on to the next thing, and this will work. Have you ever had a time where you're like, shit, this isn't going to work, or I'm shook, or maybe
No, like fortunately there was never like, oh damn, like if I don't do this in the next week, this is... No, like I said, I've always been very cautious. I'm very pessimistic, where it's like, I'll usually plan for the failure before I've planned for the success.
That's interesting. Thought, because I've said to my wife like plenty, I'm like, whenever I'm sort of embarking on something or there's some potential scenario, I always think about the absolute worst possible outcome.
That's exactly how. And it's like,
once you're comfortable
if I can deal with that, then I'm like, okay, this should be all right. And that's kind of how I do everything. Like we played the East Coast Music Awards a couple months ago. We did Powerless on it.
Yeah.
And I triggered everything from my drum machine, which I never do. It's usually my DJ. So I'm sitting there with the box and, it's 10,000 people in the arena and I'm hitting it. And I'm just, before I did it, David Myles was in the crowd and I was like, look, if this shit fucks up, just grab a guitar and get on stage and let's just do this. And like, I was really nervous and it went smooth, but that's kind of how I approach things. It's like, okay, if all else fails, I know I can do this and we'll kind of, cover my tracks.
Yeah, the acoustic video you put up for Powerless was great with David Myles. And who was the one?
Bree McKinnon.
Bree McKinnon, yeah, that was awesome, man.
Yeah, it came out really good.
Well, I mean, since you guys hooked up, you and David, I mean, I feel like there's a real sort of like sound. What is it about working with him that you...
We just both appreciate music and work our asses off. Like, straight out, it's kind of the simplest thing. Like,
work
he can come out
totally.
He'll come out to the studio and we'll sit there all day and work on the drums or just the bass. You know what I mean? Where a lot of artists are like, okay, let's get that done. Let's get into this. I want to finish this today. So I think he just has similar patience to me. He grew up on 90s hip hop is what I grew up on. And, we're around the same age and I think we both make good music together. Like, I think he's really good at what he does. I'm good at what I do. Not saying that in a cocky way, but I find when we do it, like we do acoustic shows and it's like, it's a unique thing. There's not a lot of many people. It's like, me coming from rap world, Dave coming from folk singer songwriter world. But when we come together, it's like this kind of fresh, I don't know, just a very fresh take on what we do.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned Process. I was talking with Max, who actually does this podcast with me. He sings in Arkells.
Yeah, I know Max.
And we were talking about how on that Kanye record, Ye, the new one, the last song, at the end of the last song, they have the Nicki Minaj voicemail where she's kind of like, I guess she called.
I never got to that part yet.
Yeah. I didn't listen to the whole album either. Max was telling me, so I listened to that in prep. But it was like, so at the end, so he does the song and he has this line in it about, I'm going to have a daughter like Nicki Minaj, but no Minaj's or whatever the line is. But then at the very end, he has the voicemail that she leaves him being like, yo, like I got this verse. Use it however you want or whatever, which is fascinating because it's sort of like a look into, I guess, the process
Of how they're
putting this
relationship
song together.
Totally,
exactly. I guess like, what is it like for you when you're going through that process? Are you collaborating with a lot of people? Are you sitting with a notebook? Are you like, do you have beats that you've had and then you're trying to fit lyrics over?
A little bit, yeah. Like that's usually how it starts. Like even when I started this process, I had 2 or 3 beats. I've got hundreds of beats, but there's always a couple beats from like the album before that I'm like, oh, I wish I used this one. And that's kind of usually how I'll start the next album is like, okay, let's just leave that beat for a year. And when I get back into this, let me start with that song. But it's kind of all over the place. Like that was my plan, but it never worked out that way. I didn't use any of those beats from the last album.
It's funny how that works. Eh?
Yeah, it's like that was my big plan. Started writing for a couple days, like and started again. But a lot of getting groceries. Oh, that's a cool line. Write it down on my phone. Or that's a cool song topic. Maybe I could write something about that. And that's kind of where it starts. I'll go through my phone, look for ideas, or I'll be on the drum machine, make a beat, and go, wow, this beat's got me right now. This kind of reminds me of something. But there's no real, process of like start with kick, snare, bass, just building. It's usually starts with the beat or starts with the lyric and then start mashing them together and see where it goes. And then my brother, Mike, who's here as well, is always kind of sitting in the back. He's like my second ears to have when I'm sitting there and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, you like this or this? You like that. So it's good to have somebody else there to do that, help you with that.
Who you trust their opinion as well.
Totally.
Man. That's huge.
Well, he grew up on the same music as me, so we have very similar tastes. We come from the same world. So usually if we can get something that we're both happy with, that's kind of where we like to be.
I guess lastly, what would your hope be for the next 10 years of Classified? Do you even think about it?
The same shit I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I have no problem if my life kept going the same way I'm going right now.
It's a good life, man.
It's a great life. I get to hang out with my kids, mess around with music when I want to, go skateboarding on the half pipe, mow my lawn, hang out with the dog, and at the same time still hang out with like a lot of my friends I grew up with. We still, Friday night, we're all in the studio having some drinks, party, and so it's like a 25-year-old kid, 25-year-old man, kids that still thinks he's like a teenager. I don't know what I am.
Thanks so much for your time, man.
All good, man.
Welcome to The Dessert, where we are joined by our pop culture aficionado, Shane Cunningham, and still with us from Off the Top is Erika. What's up, Erika?
Intern Erika.
Intern Erika, yeah.
Is she the intern? I still don't know what's going on this
I don't know
podcast.
what's
She's
going on either.
kind of, I guess, the intern for the podcast, but she's not Shane's digital dessert intern.
And there is a
difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ah, okay.
So the Shane's digital dessert intern is going to be interning just for the digital desserts.
Okay.
You might come in and help for that also to do double duty because sometimes we have 5 cameras going.
Right.
Availability, obviously,
You're
all
right
that
up on the mic.
comes into play.
Nice and close.
I'm red.
But I've sifted through all the submissions, and I actually sent you a link, Mike,
You
on
did.
your email.
Are we going to like listen to this and watch it?
We're going to listen to it and
You're gonna
watch it.
overdub the.
Yeah, I'm going to overdub the quality so it's
okay, good.
it's
Okay.
better. So if you could just put that full screen. The first guy, his name is Will Galloway. I'll give that to you so you can show the guys.
Oh, I like that we have a headshot of Will
Yeah, that's
Galloway. All right, Will
Cool
Galloway.
color print.
So what we're going to do is we're going to watch these videos. Everyone's going to chime in with their final 4.
Okay.
And keep in mind, Justice.
How many do we have?
Justice Hargrove. We have 10 here.
Okay.
No, 10 in total,
10.
including Justices.
Whoa.
This are me narrowing it down.
Okay, we got 16 minutes of footage here to
Can I borrow
watch.
that
Yeah.
pen?
This is gonna be one dude to 16 minutes, or is this
No,
all
this is all of them.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Wow, people are actually getting to listen to this process live. Erika's already writing stuff down. Like,
Okay. Taking notes.
Shane, are you going to respond to the allegations that unpaid internships are?
Sorry, I wanted you to because I don't know how to deal with that stuff. Because okay, Mike, explain what happened. And yeah,
It's a toxic subject right now.
I know, but Mike can articulate it probably in a shorter period so I can jump in maybe.
Sure. Shane sort of out of nowhere started this intern contest. He posted it on our socials. We talked about it on the podcast. And people reached out enthusiastically and some not so enthusiastically, just saying that, hey, listen, internships are a bit of a racket for a lot of reasons. Only people that come from good means can afford to do them, because if you actually have to have a real job, you can't spend the time interning in a lot of places. So it does seem to favor people that already come from advantageous backgrounds.
Okay, so a lot of the people who contacted me too were like, they heard about this contest word of mouth, and they had clearly never heard the pod or anything, or even knew why I needed a digital dessert intern, or even what a digital dessert was for that matter. So although I do call it Shane's digital dessert intern, it's really a volunteer gig, and it might.
Even though I called it a paid gig,
Yeah,
you're supposed to just show up and do it.
but listen,
For free.
Okay, it might be 2 hours a month, guys. So if you're relying on this for any income, you're fucked. Like, so like,
That'll be the official press release. You're fucked.
but like when I was growing up, I actually worked like 60 hours a week free for JR Diggs, getting paid in pizza coupons,
Sure.
and that was like probably borderline illegal. This is just, we're trying to help people who need 15 hours of community service for their colleges.
community service. So we want criminals.
Jailbirds too. Whatever, whoever needs it, we're trying to give it to them to help them. It's charity. So that's it.
Yeah.
That's me explaining it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's good,
Okay,
right?
and I think it's important to note that like everything that Mike said off the top is that unpaid internships, like if you're asking,
This isn't a sweatshop. I assure you.
Okay.
It's the easiest thing in the world.
okay,
Well, can
And fun.
I also too saw the backlash on Instagram, and I would like to raise a point. Nobody in this Bell Media building pays their interns.
Yes, it
There's-
is.
ooh,
Okay, cut that out. And then because I actually don't know that. But okay, I have to do an internship for school. It's full time for 6 weeks. No one pays. CBC doesn't pay their interns. Like a lot, like CP24 here doesn't pay their interns. It's full time too. Like you're expected to be here 9 to 5, 5 days a week.
and we're not saying that's good.
Hold on,
Oh.
Webmaster
And
Dan's
if
in the
you-
house.
For school credit.
Hold on.
School credit.
There's different rules when it's for school credit.
Okay,
Oh,
so
that's
so
true,
Dan's
that's
saying
true,
that when
that's
it's for school credit, it's different rules.
Yeah, that's true.
But
But-
still, people, I'm sure, can use this for their school credit. I'll write them the best padded note ever.
I'll take one.
Webmaster Dan's doing the stop talking shade.
Yeah, we probably
I
opened.
dare
How do we wrap this part up? Okay, basically, I think as the producer of the show,
You're willing to pay everyone?
Yeah, no, definitely not. No, just that it is the amount of work we're asking for. If anybody wants to be involved in the show, is very minimal.
I'll get into the workload
Okay.
too. It's ridiculously easy.
And
Yeah.
it seems fun.
You're going to meet celebs.
Yeah, that's cool.
Let's roll it.
Shall we proceed?
Let's do it.
Okay, so Will Galloway, could we hold up the picture of Will just so people can get a look at him? Nice, clear.
Okay, there's Will.
He looks
handsome
good.
guy.
He's
Yeah.
kind of got like a
Psycho vibe.
Uh-oh.
Imagine if that picture was any lower.
yeah.
Full erection. Paint it for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so
No, he reminds me a bit of who's the dude from American Pie, the tall guy.
yes,
Wait.
Good
Chris
call.
Klein. Webby D with the nice pull. Okay, are we ready for this dude?
Crank that audio.
Hi, I'm
doesn't matter.
Will Galloway.
you
I'm
just-
from Beansville. I'm just outside of St. Catharines. I'm about an hour away from Toronto. I think the podcast is great, and I love digital dessert. And I think like who better to learn from than people who are finding success, like having fun and carrying themselves in a way that I'd hope to carry myself one day in this industry.
He's
So-
never watched a second of a teacher.
If you take
What
me,
a fucking liar this
I'd be
kid is.
extremely thankful, and I try to make the best of it.
Oh man.
Are you sure
Okay.
he's not just an earnest guy?
Okay.
Why do you think he's lying, guys?
I hope to carry myself like that. You see the way I carry myself? No, trust me, he hasn't seen it. But what I do like is he's willing to kind of do anything that it takes. Clearly, I don't think.
Wait, how do you know that? How can you tell that from that video?
Well, just instincts, right? Like you base a lot of stuff. when you're interviewing someone, you can kind of get a sense of if they're bullshitting you or not.
Yeah.
I would say that guy might not be the biggest digital dessert fan.
No.
And maybe someone just told him about it. I could be wrong, though, as anyone could about anything, but I think. Okay, next person is Sarah Reddy. And let's just get a picture.
Okay, Sarah's rocking a guitar.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay, so let's play that one.
Hi, my name is Sarah Reddy, and this is my video submission for Shane's Digital Dessert Internship. I enjoy the simple pleasures in life. I'm a dreamer, believer, and adventure seeker. I currently reside in St. John's, Newfoundland, and am willing to move for this opportunity, experience, and adventure. I like low-paying jobs and have a great sense of humor. Please feel free to reach me via phone.
VIA?
Yeah.
Via?
Someone wrote this for her.
Oh.
For a fact. And she got emailed through a friend, too. Okay. So again, this person, someone has contacted her, literally scripted cue cards and had her read them because she needs this opportunity. But because no one writes via and says VIA. You know, she got busted.
Listen, Newfoundlanders say
East
things
Coast,
in different
yeah.
ways.
What are you implying?
I'm just saying they have a different way of
Okay.
speaking. That's all.
You're very
Suspicious.
You are. You're cynic.
No, but you know, you have a gut instinct. Would you think a person would write down the word via and say VIA?
I don't know if that is like the smoking gun.
Okay. She's from St. John's, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. STJOHN.
Yeah, exactly. So
Well done.
again, here's the thing. We're not paying anyone.
Yeah.
And I just need someone to stand there and watch to make sure the record light is blinking. That's the job, okay? So people listening need to understand that it's not a heavy-duty job. If you can set up a tripod, that's great. But I just need to make sure the camera's rolling. Because for the classified one, a little backstory, 3 of the cameras stopped working.
Yeah.
And it was a nightmare for me to edit because I had very limited angles, and it would have helped if someone was manning the camera just to look at it. Okay, so next up we have Jacob. If you can show the guys.
Okay.
Nice. Looks like a party guy.
Yeah, I like that shirt.
That's a weekend shirt.
That is a weekend shirt. Here we go, Jake.
How's it going? My name's Jake Kovacevic and I'm 23 years old. This is Instagram. I gotta make this video really, really quick, 1 minute. So essentially, I just graduated from Humber College with my bachelor's degree in jazz guitar. But the thing is, I'm a singer-songwriter at heart, and I'm actually working on my debut EP as we speak. The reason why I want to apply, networking. You guys are in touch with some of the best songwriters on the planet, and networking is key. So I'd love to kind of come in and help out in any way that I can. My name's Jake.
You're very confident, Max. Okay, so this guy clearly is a little confused because I think he thinks he's going to intern for the show in general.
Sure.
And you're the guy he's targeting to get
Little
close
does he know
with.
that I don't even show up for your digital.
No, you
desserts.
hate them. So, yeah, this guy, I really liked his submission. I thought he was, very charming and charismatic. It's just I don't think the digital desserts would serve him well.
You know what I'm finding in a lot of these is
What's that?
nobody's speaking to the show.
Exactly. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Yet, right? This girl, speaking of that, I found her really...
Let's watch it.
She really gets it. No, but I got to explain. There's a little thing here. Okay, so this one was borderline insulting because she wrote a cover letter. And she was trying to be complimentary, but I'll just read part of it. Or did you want to read the cover letter?
Sure.
Okay.
In her voice, right?
Female voice.
like it.
All right.
So her name is Jessica Barbie. Jessica Barb, maybe.
It says, "Hi, Shane. My name is Jessica Adams."
Oh. She goes by J Barb's online.
Okay.
Okay. And this is my application for the digital dessert internship! ! I'm currently living in Hamilton, Ontario, and recently got married to a pretty rad dude I met at Target.
Sweet.
Smiley face emoji. I would absolutely love the opportunity to work with you as your intern. Contrary to other beliefs, I actually think you're quite hilarious and wish you
That's
had more.
insulting, right?
A very backhanded compliment.
And I wish you had more time on the pod. I often skip past
Now
the
that's insulting
interviews
to
to
me.
listen to the dessert.
Okay, I see how this is going.
To listen to the dessert first, just to hear what you have to say. I've attached my video, no fancy editing, just me on my porch in Hamilton. I hope you'll give me a shot.
So I was kind of mad when I read that cover letter.
Why?
Because I was like, do other people think I'm not funny? Is that the thing?
Only the people in the
Why-
secret text chain.
Right. Okay, but this one, for some reason, maybe I was in a mood, but it made me oddly emotional, like how like earnest she was.
Hey guys, my name is Jessica Adams. I am 27 years old and I currently live in Hamilton, Ontario. I currently work at Tamarack Lumber as an administrative assistant. I'm working on getting my project coordinator degree at George Brown, but I'm kind of maybe putting that on hold right now. I would love the opportunity to be the digital dessert intern. Even if it doesn't pay anything, I don't give a shit.
I like her.
I just want the opportunity at the position, and even just to work with you guys, that would be amazing. I constantly listen to the Mike on Much podcast at work, but I recently got married in February at the Spice Factory in Hamilton.
Right? Yeah.
Mike, I know you got married
She's
there.
losing a little bit of points.
Actually, is what intrigued me to get married there. And so, of course, I would love to be able to start a family soon. Never know if
There's
that's
a
gonna
lot of
happen,
pressure
but
on this
who cares?
internship, though, eh? Oh my God.
Right now, I would just really love to find a job that I love, and I really hope that
Rest
you'll give me
assured.
this opportunity at
The
being a
lumber.
digital dessert intern. Talk soon.
I'll
Wow.
just go. So that was her. Just
I like
remember-
Jessica.
Yeah,
This guy's-
very earnest.
I like Jessica because
Yeah, she's
she
cool.
clearly listens to the show. She's
Oh,
very
yeah.
earnest. Even though she skips my interviews, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
She doesn't skip them. She just goes to the dessert first.
Still hurts just as much.
This guy is Brandon Marin.
Brandon Marin.
Yes.
All right.
What's going on, Shane or Mike or whoever's watching this? I just heard about this internship opportunity that you guys are looking for. Sounds really cool. I'm not a sketch dude. I can get references if you need. And I am always early to things, so I think I fit the criteria. And yeah, take it easy.
Okay, Emma. Now,
Yeah.
Emma.
Oh, Emma.
Emma, yeah. I
Okay,
recognize
we
Emma.
know Emma. We
Yeah.
recognize Emma.
She's coming to live pods and stuff.
Yeah. I think she's already in the building.
Okay. Well, let's see what she has to say.
Hey guys, this
only
is
a
my
couple more.
submission to prove to you why I would be the perfect digital dessert intern. Now, I've listened to every episode of the pod, and in your latest one, it sounds like you guys are looking for someone who's proficient using multiple cameras at once. Luckily, I'm majoring in multicam productions at school, so if you hired me to be your intern, I promise that you will never have camera issues ever again.
I love that.
I'm a huge fan of Much Music, so if you guys hired me, you don't have to pay me. I understand
I
the
love that.
importance of unpaid internships, and just having the experience working with you guys is all that I want. I would be the perfect digital dessert intern, and it would be so cool to be able to work with you guys. So thank you so much for
good.
this opportunity,
She's a
and I'll
good,
talk to you soon.
TV
Bye.
voice.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
guys.
I like her.
Worked for Maryland Dentist. Little known Maryland Dentist fact. Also punched out Sean Dawson at a pool party once.
Really?
Whoa.
This girl, I included her. I like that joke, but I included this girl even though something about her annoyed me.
Okay.
But I feel like you would like her, maybe be able to convince me.
You're talking to Max right now?
Yeah, for some reason I feel like I'd be the only person. Sometimes you dislike someone in a video, but you like them in person. You know, I don't know. Anyway, give me your opinions on this person.
Hey, Mike. Let me tell you why you shouldn't hire this Ryerson girl, who I'm sure is wonderful.
Oh,
But why I'd be a better
throwing
fit.
Erika under the bus.
Consider this my official application for your digital dessert internship.
I don't like her.
You can talk to you about the Raptors, but also has a vagina. Look no further. I'm also not
See,
going to
that's
hold
weird.
it against you that you're not
How
paying
does she know
me.
I don't have one?
Because I'm a singer-songwriter, so getting in those circles
Trying to get close
is
to
a
Mike
win for
and
me.
Max. It's about the
B,
digital
I'm a
desserts.
business
She doesn't get it.
voice
For our
a
listeners,
living.
Shane is
So I have a
pointing at the screen
flexible
right now.
schedule,
Angrily.
And I don't need the Yeah, I'm a go-getter.
Watch
you
this.
have to be. I'm also really great with kids, so if your kid needs to nap, I can hold them.
What?
So let me
You have a daughter.
help you.
I guess I brought
Help
her to the
me.
last one.
Another reason why you should hire me instead of Ryerson Girl is you're gonna save money
Going
on
at you,
printing
Erika.
costs. I don't know what the fuck I would do with a picture of Max Kerman.
Whoa.
Wow.
So just don't give that to me.
Wow. I can't hear more now.
Yeah. I know you like that.
One,
Yeah.
I was
Neg
born in
theory.
Timmins, Ontario. 2, I love coffee shops. 3, poop my pants in grade 6. Fun story. 4, I get inspired by LeBron James. 5, I was on the improv team.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but she was all over the map. Her personality seemed like she was just manufacturing different like images or something.
Sure.
Like
To
I'm the
appeal
cute,
to one
nice
of us.
person. I'm the one who swears. You know what I mean? It was like that type of thing.
By the way, I'm just like every time one of the contestants says like, and I don't even care about getting paid. All I'm thinking about is like the think pieces in Huffington Post about the Mike on Much podcast perpetuating the problem of unpaid internships.
It's
That's
2
all
hours a month.
I know. I get it, but that's not the way the internet works.
Okay, I can't wait to read them.
Yeah.
Okay,
Any press is good press. Unless you're Jacob.
down to the last two. Veronique.
Yeah, Veronique. I recognize Veronique.
Okay.
Hi, hello, pod people. Shane, what's up? My name is Veronique. Most people call me V because French names are hard. I'm gonna quickly try and tell you about myself. I'm bad at video things. I also have my own equipment. So if ever you want, more than 5 cameras or whatever, or more than just iPhones, I can bring my stuff. I'm also good in the sense that I am never late. Like I'm always super.
Okay, you get the gist though.
Yeah,
right?
she was very
Yeah, I like her.
I
low
like her a lot.
maintenance, sincere.
So
She got her own gear.
Yeah.
okay, the last one is a bit makes me uncomfortable a little bit.
Okay.
Do you know Savannah?
Whoa.
So
That is that's
this?
something, that outfit.
So she submitted, her name is Savannah,
Okay.
and she submitted one. But I told, like, if you could describe the photo just for the listeners, maybe.
Okay, so we're looking at a photo right now. It's a selfie in a bathroom of what looks like a what would be considered an attractive blonde lady who's extremely fit. She's wearing like a bikini bottom that is white and then like a tube top that is exposing some underboob. And
You're so good at this, Mike.
yeah, so that's what we're looking at right now.
So you saw that.
Yep.
So, I like to consider every applicant, right? Obviously. And so I was showing my wife some of the stuff, and obviously she looks people up on Instagram, and she said, there's no way you can even have her in the final 3. There's no way she makes it.
That's discrimination.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the one thing I hate. Workplace discrimination.
Everyone knows that about you.
Yeah.
That's the one thing you hate.
Hey, there goes that guy that hates workplace discrimination.
Oh, Shane, yeah, he hates workplace
So-
discrimination.
That's his calling card.
And this girl probably gets judged everywhere she goes
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a real victim.
and never
Yeah.
gets a chance,
Her life
right?
must be hard.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, it probably is nowadays because employers go to the opposite of this nowadays.
People like Alex.
Exactly.
Yeah, your wife.
So
She's part of the. Your wife
She
is
should
part of the
understand.
problem.
So I had an idea. I do have her video here.
Okay.
That we skip the video. And
Do
we
we
just
just
push
give
her
her the
ahead
job?
to the no, we push her ahead to the finals, and just see how she does. Because I don't judge a book by its cover.
Let's see it. Let's see the video. I really want to see the video.
Oh, I bet.
We'll see. Okay, we'll see the
Max,
video.
Max, who literally was like, we're going to watch videos. Now he's like, well, we have to watch them all.
Okay. We'll just let this.
Did you find that picture from lurking your Instagram?
Yes.
Is it unlocked, her Instagram?
Yes.
How do you
Hey
His
guys,
friend
my name
requested
is
it.
Savannah, and I guess this is my audition tape for the internship role at Mike on Much. So a little bit about myself. I'm 20 years old. I didn't want to keep that from you. I'm in my going into my 3rd
She's no
year
liar.
at Ryerson in September. I'm taking fashion communications, and I really love my program. Since I was a little girl, I've always wanted to pursue a career in fashion.
We're rolling.
So, Mike, what just happened here?
While we were watching her audition tape, the card, our SD card that we used to record all our audio on, ran out of room, and it just stopped recording, and we didn't notice for about 3 minutes. So you lost 3 minutes of content.
So then that's with an intern in the room. So this job isn't as easy as I might have made it out to be in the beginning. Not recording shit is like the most important thing not to miss.
Yeah.
It's maybe an easier way to say that. But let's let's look and make our selections here.
What are these selections for? Finalists?
I need 4 finalists for the game show we're going to be having next week. Keep in mind, Justice is in the running from last week.
Okay.
She had that amazing submission.
Justice was phenomenal.
She is from Windsor, but she said she is willing to come to Toronto, and she wants to come here anyway. She said to
You're
live with
giving
her
Max
parents.
anxiety, Shane.
Yeah, I feel bad about that.
Okay. But based on everything we've seen, everything we know about these people, do you guys have any favorites?
Okay, I'm gonna say I like the chill Montreal dude.
Him.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're going.
Yeah, I like
even though we originally were just trying to get a woman, you think a dude is okay?
I'm saying I said 4. So you said top 4. So,
Okay.
so you don't have to take them aside yet, but
No, but I will.
I liked her. She
Yeah.
was cool.
Okay.
She was good. Do you remember the names, Shane?
Veronique.
Or we
Veronique,
keep-
yeah.
Yeah.
I think Emma's good, but I almost feel like Emma's
almost overqualified.
She's overqualified, and she's had a lot of opportunity already. So like,
good point.
She might be like the number 1 contestant in my mind, but
Yeah.
also I don't think we.
If you could just give it to somebody, I would just give it to her.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, but it is just watching to make sure the cameras are recording.
Yeah.
And if she's already in the building and can just walk over. But to Max's point, we're not really. That's not much of an
Okay.
opportunity.
What about
Heartstrings?
Yeah.
Heartstrings?
Yeah.
Yes. Whose name is
Jess.
Something Adams.
Yeah, Jessica Adams.
I really liked her.
I smell a butt coming up.
I really liked her.
You couldn't have gone with a however.
I smell a butt.
I don't know. I've chosen mine too. Go ahead.
Okay.
Mike, what do you think?
Oh man, this is hard. I always struggle with these things, man. Okay, so
what do you think about him?
he was
No,
chill.
he was just a
He was
songwriter
in
guy.
it for the wrong reasons. I liked him.
He was the jazz dude.
Yeah.
I like his party shirt, but yeah, I agree with Shane.
She lives in. the East
She's
Coast.
out.
Yeah.
Oh,
East
just give me
Coast.
this one.
She's VIA.
Ripped.
Aw.
I strongly didn't like her.
See?
Well, she put down.
She was so vulgar. Yeah, thank you.
Wow.
Well, she threw Erika under the bus a bunch
She
of times.
did.
Yeah.
So
But
now
I-
Erika's part of the squad. You can't say that to but anyone on our squad. So
Very true.
You're up.
I didn't want to say
Was
who
this
it
guy
was.
funny or was he just weird?
He was kind of.
He had a lot of jump cuts.
He
was
did not.
weird?
He did not watch the show or know what we were about.
Yeah.
Sorry, Will.
I wasn't going to say the names.
Wow. Okay, so we're down
Okay,
to
get rid of the songwriter guy. He's out.
really Jazz Master's out.
Jazz Master's out.
I liked his voice. You have a nice voice.
He's nice, but this is not a
All
job for songwriting. This is about a digital dessert.
That's true.
Okay, now
Max.
there's Miss Overqualified
Well, I have to
versus
tell you guys something.
Heartstrings.
If I was Emma and I listened to this and I said, "What? You guys aren't picking me because I'm too good for the job," I'd be pissed.
Yeah, but keep in mind, it's not a job. It's a volunteer opportunity.
Yeah, but she's gonna kill it. Like, do you want good digital desserts? Like, do you want your cameras to roll? She's like, absolutely will guarantee you'll get what you need.
That's true, but she's already had an opportunity, and all these social justice warriors are going to be all up on me for the reverse reason, right? If I get her, because she's had too much opportunity, and that's not what this contest is about.
Oh, okay.
Poor Emma.
All right, so we have an answer with Jessica.
So name out the 4, Shane.
Okay, so I'm going to have to talk to Justice.
Oh, I forgot about Justice. Justice is in my top 4 for
Oh
sure.
yeah, I thought that we already
Wait, are we
included
doing 4
Justice.
total or
4 total. I thought it was 5 total. Okay.
Okay, so we have Brandon Marin, we have Jessica Adams, and Veronique.
We're assuming Savannah's in, right?
Savannah is in, yes. Yeah, I'll just put her over there. No, it's true though. You're sick of this discrimination more than anyone, right?
That's it. That's all. That is our episode. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks to Classified for coming on and chatting with us.
The Mike on Much podcast can be found on Twitter and Instagram at Mike on Much. Subscribe to the show on iTunes. Tell your friends about it. Spread the gospel. Huge thank you to Tara Paquette and Jenna Gregory for putting together the artwork.
Thank you to everyone who submitted their videos for our Shane's Digital Dessert position. We appreciate it, and thank you for taking a chance, because that's what life's all about. The Mike and Much podcast is produced by Max Kerman. I am your host, Mike Veerman. See you next week if we don't die on the weekend.